What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 6 of my ranking and reviewing the live Phish shows from the live Phish series. We're now on volume 6. I'm going to talk about this absolutely amazing show. Then I'm going to show you where I think it ranks among the other 5 I've already done. This is a complete show from November 27th, 1998, in Worcester, Massachusetts. Yeah, just a fantastic show from start to finish. One of the most high energy first half of the second sets. Just some of the absolute fun. It's a great set list. The energy is great. Trey is great. The band is great. Paige, John, Mike, they all sound great. Some really good song selections throughout the entire show. From start to finish, there's really nothing to complain about in this show at all. Yeah. First set is on disc 1 and then carries over to disc 2. So it's a pretty long first set. Opens up, there's a number of songs on here that I think have never been released before prior to on a Phish release, which at this point in time, when we have so many Phish things, that's no longer that big of a deal because you can go back and find this stuff. But at the time, it was like, oh, we are getting all of these things, including the first ever release of a Runaway Jim. Also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first Mike song that's on the live Phish series. If I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken in that though. But there are so many just really good things. So it opens up with a funky bitch, just dun 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 dun, dun, and we're just in it. We're hard. We're going from the beginning. Great energy. Trey sounds amazing. And that goes into a really nice jammed out, really tasty, like jammed out in like that laid back way the song is jammed out, Yamar. Just a great sort of 1-2 punch, fun. Yes, they're both covers, but they both work fantastically. I don't know of any other band that covers either one of these songs. So really nice, high energy intro to the song. And Trey particularly is on point. The band is supporting him well. I mean, everybody is great. The band just sounds fantastic. That drops into a Carini. Pretty straightforward Carini. We get pretty much almost a non-existent jam at the end. I think it's like maybe 30 seconds to a minute of Trey just kind of doing some stuff. So we don't really get an extensive, like lengthy jam, but sort of the energy of the song, sort of just the intensity of the song, the sort of like, you know, it's got some weird sort of changes and stuff in it. Pairs really well with the funky bitch Yamar opening and then to drop into like a na really kind of heavy Carini. Works really well, though we are missing that sort of closing jam. So be prepared for no jam. Then we get a Runaway Jim. Not opening the show, right smack in the middle of the first set. Beautiful, nice, typical Runaway Jim. Nice, good closing solo by Trey. Just some really good, positive Runaway Jim energy. We get a Meet, which is one of those songs that I always thought should be a second set tweezer type thing. See, Meet to me has always felt like a song that should be in the middle of a jam. I think it's weird as a standalone song. And it's neat, it's weird, it's different. It kind of works only because it falls between a Runaway Jim, which is high energy, has a really good Trey solo, and then it's followed by a Reba, which is a Reba. Really good. Oh, and the Runaway Jim has some nice sort of jazzy energy in the solo. I think it's Paige particularly, maybe even Mike a little, that's pushing us slightly towards some like sort of jazzier notes for a while before we kind of course correct into like a typical sort of uplifting Runaway Jim conclusion to the solo. We get a Reba. Again, really nice play by the entire band. Pretty straightforward Reba. Nice, slowly building energy during the solo. We do have one moment in the solo where we start to get like a little like, split open and melty or stashy, where we start to like fixate on a single like idea, and we start to like go down that weird rabbit hole where we like just kind of, everybody plays the same notes over and over. We get a little bit of that like, we're going to go over there, and then we kind of go back into sort of the Reba lane, that's typically Reba. Really nice solo. Pretty chill, not the most intense, not the most uplifting, definitely doesn't have the most highest peak. but works really well with the energy of the show. And I don't think we need anything too fantastic or too like, just record breaking at this point. We get a cover of Old Home Place, really nice cover. And then this disc, disc one closes out with The Dogs Stole Things. So really nice first disc. Couple strong openers. Runaway Jim and Reba providing some good Trey solos in the middle of it, some good sort of band guitar solo explorations. Solid first disc. Disc two continues on set one continues on disc two with the Vultures. Don't really like the song itself. I've never been a Vultures song itself fan, but the jam / solo at the end is fantastic. It's like Trey trying to like stay down the middle of the road with his solo, with Mike and Paige and John just doing all the crazy stuff they can all around him. It's like Trey is the vulture trying to go in for the meat, and like John and Paige and Mike are the dead things and they're the germs, and they're just, I don't know. It's just, the ending is fantastic. It's one of those cathartic, sort of dissonant, sort of like angular, sort of all over the place type closing jams that erupts out of a song that doesn't do much for me. But like, if you're going to end a song like this, you can play Vultures at every show as far as I'm concerned. Not the longest, but that's kind of one of the things that makes it work, is it's like a nice condensed 2 through 3-ish, 4 minutes of kind of chaos with Trey just bringing it in the middle. Kind of works really well. When the Circus Comes, awesome Los Lobos cover. Yes, love this cover. Thought this was a great choice. Huge Los Lobos fan here. And then we get a pretty straightforward, high energy Birds of a Feather to close out the first set. So a really strong, enjoyable, consistent, no flaws, couple really interesting moments of first set. But kind of doesn't prepare you for what is the insanity of like the first, the first 8, 10, 15, 25 minutes of the second set, which is almost like Phish's live version of the Beatles' White Album. It feels like we get a whole bunch of little different songs. We get some reprises. We get like themes running throughout. It's a really neat, fun roller coaster ride through all of these different flavors. Opens up with Buried Alive, one of the greatest opening songs to any set. Love the energy, love Trey's guitar playing, just everything about Buried Alive is a win. Then they start playing Wipeout. And they play like they go through it like 4 times, where they play it and Fishman gets his drum solo. And Wipeout essentially becomes the theme for the rest of the set. They play Wipeout for 2 minutes. They go into Chalk Dust, and Trey's full on dropping Wipeout licks all throughout Chalk Dust. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's ridiculous. It's silly. Mike, in order to counter Trey's Wipeout energy, at one point drops the bass line for Mirror in the Bathroom, doom, dom, boom. That awesome, absolutely awesome 80s song. Roger Wakeling, absolutely love that song. And he drops the bass line during Chalk Dust Torture at one point. They go into the Chalk Dust Torture solo, and Trey's immediately kind of going off into weird mode. And Mike again starts playing the bass line to Mirror in the Bathroom. So they do about a minute of Mirror in the Bathroom, Mirror in the Bathroom, which I think Trey knows as many lyrics as I do, which is like Mirror in the Bathroom. And I think that's the only actual lyrics I know. Awesome song. English beat song from the mid-'80s. I think it came out early 80s maybe. Mirror in the bathroom, please talk free. The door is locked, just you and me. I had to look up the lyrics because I had to get that in mind. But it's really neat to hear a song like Mirror in the Bathtub. That's one of the best part about Phish, when they're in that weird like jammy phase and they're dropping in these little licks and songs. And I think Mirror in the Bathtub is just a choice song to tease. They do Mirror in the Bathtub. They go back into what is essentially pretty much a full-length, like Chalk Dust Torture, like solo, jamming it out, high energy, dropping some Wipeout licks throughout, just going full bore until they eventually kind of reach a peak, and then they downshift into kind of a bluesy version of Dog Log. Not one of my favorite songs, I'll be honest. But it works really well because it's just such an odd contrast to Chalk Dust Torture. The incredible high energy with like Wipeout and Mirror in the Bathroom and the Buried Alive to kick it off. We downshift into this weird little like dog log, right? Bluesy dog log, which just works, which is where that White Album kind of eccentricity sets in. After they do a really short, maybe minute and a half of dog log, they jam out on Chalk Dust Torture again. They finish that Chalk Dust Torture solo and they drop right into a Sanity. They give us a full-blown 5-minute Sanity, fully committed to the Sanity energy. After the Sanity, they drop us into a Buffalo Bill. Man, just an absolutely awesome Buffalo Bill that even includes like a little like, I don't want to use the avant-garde, but this weird little funky kind of Buffalo Bill jam at the end. It is just, from the Buried Alive to this point, which is like just over 25 minutes, just an exhilarating fun house tour of like Phish deep cuts and random samples and high guitar energy, and the band just like in full overdrive, just doing all the things they do so incredibly well. And then at that point, we just get serious and we drop into the epicness and we get a Mike song. Disc 2 is over. Disc 3 kicks off with a Mike song. And just after that high energy chaos of that first 25 minutes, just to hear Trey play that opening Mike song lick, da, 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 that opening lick is like, yes, this is exactly what we need at this point. Get a nice 10.5-minute Mike song, just your pretty typical Mike song groove. We're just grooving. We're riding that energy hard. Everybody in the band's doing what they do in a good Mike song. We're hitting all the nice transitions. Really goes perfectly. We get to I Am Hydrogen, and we're like, seeping down. We're like melting down into that I Am Hydrogen energy. And we're at that point where we should start playing, Trey should start playing, but we just kind of let it simmer for like 1.5, 2 minutes. And it almost feels like maybe they're not going to do a hydrogen. Maybe they're just teasing this energy and they're going somewhere else. And they kind of let that ride for a while. And it's absolutely perfect. It's like so needed at this point in the set. It's just like the contrast between everything that went before it is just like, you're like in a hammock and you're just relaxing and it's like what you need. But then eventually they hit the hydrogen, they finish the hydrogen, they drop into the Weekapaw. We get a pretty straightforward Weekapaw, includes a full-on Wipeout detour. Like we get a 10-minute Weekapaw with like the vocals, we get a solo, we get a Wipeout detour, we finish up the solo, and then the song pretty much kind of ends, and then we get a Weekapaw reprise, and the reprise quickly goes type 2 and just kind of dissolves into this like motoric type groove, and we're just going out there. And it could be it's only one 20-minute track on the CD. It could be Weekapaw reprise. It could be Weekapaw reprise in a jam. Like, yeah, I guess it's technically part of Weekapaw, but it definitely feels like they're just like, hey, we've done everything else this set. Like, we've gone high energy. We've quoted a couple songs. We've done some deep cuts. We've done a full-on Mike's groove. We've done a Weekapaw groove. Now let's go out there. Let's go type 2. Let's go really spacey. Let's just explore for like 10 minutes. And it's just, again, the contrast to the rest of the show is perfect. Like they're literally giving everything in their toolbox in this set. And it just all flows so well. And it just makes sense. It comes when it's supposed to come in the set. Brilliant. We get a Weekapaw. That goes into a Run Like an Antelope. Pretty straightforward Run Like an Antelope. Nice 15-minute version of Run. We get all the run peaks. We get everything we need out of a Run Like an Antelope. It also really works nice out of the Weekapaw groove, the sort of type 2 jam, because they are kind of like, almost like, deconstructing their music and letting things fall apart and like letting things go way, way out there. So when they go into the Run Like an Antelope, it's like, hey, we're going to ease you into this, like nice and slowly, maybe say some things, but then we're going to finally, after everybody's back in, we're calm, we're on the same page, then all of a sudden we're just going to go da-na-na-na and go off into our solo land. Again, another perfect song choice that just works so well with the flow of the show. Run Like an Antelope. Then we get the encores. Waiting in the Velvet Sea, which just Trey Trey's solo is just so like sweet and pointed and kind of controlled, kind of like reminds me of like a Jerry, Black Peter, Stella Blue type solo where it's just like every note just matters. There's a little bit of emotion in there. Trey's bringing like just exactly what this show hasn't had so far. Just kind of a poignant moment after all the essential chaos of the second set. And then we get a Golgi apparatus, and then after the Golgi apparatus, the cherry on top of the sundae. We do wipe out for another couple minutes, and end it just as almost exactly as the second set started. So just, I don't know, it's an exhilarating roller coaster ride of a show that I don't know, like you just have to hate Phish to not find something to enjoy here because they are on top of their game and it is absolutely fantastic. Where would I put it in relation to the other ones? I have it at number 3 right now. Those 2000 shows, number 4 and 3, have some epic jams. That's the thing I think I love more than anything are the epic jams. But this would fall in at number 3. The energy is so good. The playing is so good. The songs, the set list, the surprises, the Wipeout theme, just it all works. And you really get so many different flavors. Straightforward solos, 10 minutes of type 2 jamming, little poignant solos, like a Mike's. I mean, zero complaints. Absolutely love this show. I highly recommend you go listen to the entire thing. If you don't have time to listen to the entire thing, listen to set 2. Exhilarating fun. So yeah, that's all I got for Phish Volume 6. Let me know your thoughts on this show. Comment, subscribe, like, and most importantly, go listen to the show, people. Go listen to more Phish. They're fantastic. Peace. Talk to you later.